Hey guys, what's going on? So, in this video, I want to show you something that a book that totally changed my life because I was able to see from the earliest sources we have how there have been many people, many stories, many interactions that we really don't think about or believe in. But not only that, um, just how any belief system controls its population. And I didn't even expect this book to do this to me. And I'm college educated. I got a bachelor's degree, and I took this class. This was the book that was assigned to us. And the things in this book, I wish everybody knew that these were actual things. I know I'm kind of going off anyway, but let me just tell y'all what the book is. It's Ancient Lives, Brian M. Fagan. It's an introduction to archaeology and prehistory, sixth edition. Now, there's a concept in this book. When I read this, it just resonated with me, and maybe it'll resonate with you. So I'm going to read a few things in this book. The first thing is this idea of social stratification. Now, this is a term commonly used in archaeology to refer to the structure of state-organized societies, where groups or classes have unequal access to the means of production. So the pharaohs and their high officials commanded the loyalty of several million commoners who supported the state with their labor and products. Such highly centralized societies as those of the Egyptians or the Aztecs controlled every aspect of life, with all wealth and secular or religious power concentrated in the hands of a few. And so, if you guys can understand that, think about it in the terms of you have a society, right? And how are they going to get you to follow their rulings, their decrees, the laws of that land, whatever the case may be? Um, Check this out. So we're going to look at the law code of Hammurabi of Babylon, dated 1760 BC. Okay. Now I'm not going to read all of it, but he was King Hammurabi. He ruled over Babylon in what is now Iraq from 1792 to 1750. His law code is the earliest law code we have in the history of mankind. But I want you to pay attention to this point. So he claimed that he received his laws from Shamash, sun god and god of justice. So here we have in the 1760 BCs another person claiming that they received divine revelation, right? They received divine revelation. This is 1760 BC. They received divine revelation from Shamash, sun god and god of justice. And he's saying that this God gave him this law. You see what I'm saying? And so then he says the laws themselves are not a comprehensive code, but they cover a wide variety of subjects, from ransom of prisoners of war to pledges of land in payment for debts and punishment for adultery. Okay. Then we can see we have actually an image here of, see that there, Hammurabi, king, receiving receiving the message from Shamash, the sun god. Now, one other thing that I want to read from this book that was absolutely just changed my whole worldview. It's called Ideologies of Domination. Now it says, perhaps most important of all are the ideologies of domination. The ancient Maya lords built great ceremonial centers with towering pyramids and vast plazas that were symbolic models of the sacred landscape of the Maya universe. Their pyramids were sacred mountains, the sites of sacred openings that were the threshold to the spiritual world of the ancestors. So it was here that the ruler went into a shamanistic trance, communicating with the gods and ancestors in opulent public ceremonies. Everything validated the complex relationship between the living and the dead, and between the ruler and the commoner, displayed in lavish, pointed metaphors that confirmed the divine power of the supreme lords. By the same token, ancient Egyptian pharaohs carefully choreographed their public appearances as spectacles commemorating and validating their wealth and spiritual power. Now, the definition of ideologies of domination is overarching philosophies or religious beliefs used by rulers or entire civilizations to focus their power and ensure conformity among their subjects. Now, if your livelihood is coming from the priestly class or a ruler or king who is said to be the divine appointed person of God, and then they seem to have these uh, these experiences you don't. You weren't visited by Shamash, the sun god, right? You weren't visited by the angel Jabril. You weren't visited by a an angel that said to you you would bear a son. You That is their validation that they should be followed and listened to. And the point I want to stress is that that has been around since the Code of Hammurabi. And not only that, but the reason why so many people don't fight against it is because in these societies, their very existence, their life, their status, uh, their ability to get food is entangled in the religion uh, and the politic. Not only that, I mean, possibly in these times or in these cultures, uh, there was this view that um, this was actually what was occurring. The people did believe that Shamash did come to Hammurabi and give the divine law. Um, that is possible. And so I find it really interesting because living in our time, there have been more people who have said, God revealed this to me, it's for you to follow. Um, in every book I just showed, the Quran, the Bible, Zoroaster, an experience with Hura Mazda, said this was for all mankind. Who's that? Joseph Smith. He's the final prophet. Or all thing is, if you go back far enough, that is how kings and rulers controlled the populace through religion and and divine divine visitation. And so, studying religions and trying to see which one is true, you have to say which one is false or which one is wrong. And it's harder to do that when you have more options. But not only is it harder to do it when you have more options, it's harder to do it when you can't falsify them. Who can falsify that Shamash, the sun god and god of justice, came to Hammurabi? Who can falsify that Ahura Mazda visited Zoroaster? Who can falsify that the angel Jabril came to Muhammad? Who can falsify that Joseph Smith was visited by angels? Who can falsify that Mary was visited by an angel? I mean, they are unfalsifiable claims, which means they are all in the same boat. They're all equal in credence, so to speak. So I found that really interesting because I never understood the concept of social stratification. And once again, if you want to check out this book, it's called Ancient Lives. It is a fantastic resource. It goes into a lot of other stuff, such as mankind's prehistoric period, the Ice Age. It's just different types of farming. Fantastic book. And it really has changed my whole worldview. And I would love to hear what you guys think about the Dakota Hammurabi, about his visitations of Shamash. I just find this stuff really fascinating, but I don't hold to any particular religion. Used to, but when things become unfalsifiable, then it becomes one of those things where how would I ever really know? How could I ever arrive at truth? Um, so that's just my take on it. Love to hear your guys' thoughts. Please put it in the comments. Um, let's see here. Let's see. Published by Rutledge, Taylor, and Francis Group. So if you were looking for, if you can't find it, I think the sixth edition is an older edition, but still has all the necessary stuff that you need. Uh, and uh, yeah. Anyway, guys, fantastic stuff. I love talking about this stuff, and I'm so glad that we live in this century where we have all access to all of this stuff. We have access, and we can read, and we can study, and we can compare and contrast. Um, just waiting on that divine visitation. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't have to rely on a shaman or a pharaoh or a king, and you shouldn't either, or a prophet, or any type of person, and you shouldn't either. You shouldn't either. Um, so yeah, I mean, all humanity is equal. All right, y'all. Appreciate y'all. Take care.